The the, the Ekemate dialect will actually call the father Dada, so they use the D instead of the T. And but both dialects actually are mutually intelligible and share the core morphosyntactic structures. And when you talk about love in Ekegusi actually has a rich oral tradition in terms of proverbs, in terms of folktales, in terms of songs, and even in terms of metaphors. And love is portrayed as a source of joy and intimacy. Love is also portrayed as potentially hazardous force. That means it can actually destabilize individuals and communities. As we go on, I'll share about the folktale, the example of we have an expression that says "Wanchanyumbu arieto ogeko." That means love killed ogeko. So I'll explain that when I get to the metaphors. So therefore, it can actually be used as a cautionary reminder of love's consuming power. And so the aim of this presentation is basically to discuss the conceptual metaphors of love in Ekegusi. And my guiding questions are, what are the main conceptual metaphors that are used to express love in Ekegusi? And how do these metaphors map abstract love into bodily experiences? And number three, in what ways do the metaphors reflect and reinforce Gusi cultural values, moral lessons, and also social norms? So why love? So, sorry,
Why
I'm
love?
trying to. Yeah, so I love. So emotions are actually among the most abstract domains of human experience, and their metaphorical framing is essential for their expression. And love in particular is simultaneously embodied. It's relational and it is also cultural. So why do we say that love is embodied? It's because it actually manifests physically in sensations such as warmth, such as arousal, and it is relational because it exists only in connection with others. And we can also say that love is also cultural because its expression and valuation are governed by social norms and moral expectations. So in Ekegusi, the metaphors of love illuminate how the Abagusi conceptualize intimacy, how they conceptualize passion, fidelity, and the risks and the rewards of human attachment. So love is one of the most complex human emotions because it serves as a rich ground for metaphorical expressions. We also say that love is being a complex human emotion. It is also universal. That means it is experienced by all humans, but it is also culture specific. What do we mean by this? It is shaped by the local values, it is shaped by traditions, and it is also shaped by different worldviews. So this means that each community represents, narrates, and values love differently. So my guiding theory is the conceptual metaphor theory. And we are saying that traditionally, metaphor was basically seen as something that belonged to poetry or rhetoric, and it was limited to literature and artistic expressions. But in 1980, Lakoff and Johnson's metaphors we live by shifted that perspective. And they argued that metaphor is not just a stylistic device, it is actually central to human thoughts and action. So, the conceptual metaphor theory shows that metaphors are actually conceptual in nature. This means that we understand abstract or complex experiences, what we call the target domains, like love, anger, fear, time, or even morality through more concrete embodied experiences known as the source domains, such as maybe motion, heat, physical force, containers, or even light. And so the implication of this is that emotions are not just described with metaphorical language. they are actually fundamentally structured by metaphors that are grounded in the physical experience. And so the development of the conceptual metaphor theory is that in the 1980s, Lakoff and Johnson published The Metaphors We Live By, showing that metaphors are not decorative, but they are systematic, they are conventional, and they are also unconscious. That means that when we use metaphors, we don't think about them. We just find ourselves using them. And so a decade later, that is in 1993, Lakoff introduced the invariance hypothesis, explaining how mappings from the source to the target domains preserve the structure of the source without violating the logic of the target. And later on, Koveskes in 2000 and in 2010 emphasized embodiment, showing that universal metaphors are grounded in recurring physical experiences like heat, movement, fullness, and even in force. So when you talk about the cultural dimensions of the metaphor, we're saying that the early versions of the conceptual metaphor theory leaned towards universalism, suggesting that metaphors are the same everywhere because they come from the shared embodiment. But later scholarship highlighted the cultural variation. So Koveskes in 2005 proposed the cultural variation hypothesis, which means that while embodiment provides the foundation, cultural practices, ecological settings, and worldviews shape how metaphors actually appear. So this is especially relevant for African languages. We have agricultural, pastoral, and communal practices create unique source domains that influence how emotions like love are actually conceptualized. And so, situating this in Africa, we are saying that Africa has over 2,000 languages, yet metaphor research has focused on Indo-European and East Asian languages. So this is surprising because African languages are incredibly rich in proverbs and metaphors. So in Bantu languages, or in Bantu traditions especially, metaphors are often drawn on agrarian and pastoral life. So for example, agriculture provides imagery for time, it provides imagery for growth, and even for relationships, as noted by Mugane. In Zulu, love is expressed through cattle metaphors linked to marriage and livestock. And in Shona, love is often described through cultivation and harvest, emphasizing the nurturing, growth, and endurance. So, we are saying that cross-cultural studies on love metaphors are extensive, yes, but when it comes to the African languages, they are rarely central in the scholarship. And when they are included, analysis often focuses on is usually brief, and it tends to be descriptive and not systematic. And so why Ekegusi? We're saying that Ekegusi actually provides a case to study love metaphors as embodied, that is, it is grounded in the human shared experience, and it is also cultural because it is shaped by the Gusi traditions, the values, and the practices. And so this offers insights into how the universal and the local dimensions intersect in metaphorical thought. How did I get my data? So my data, I got it from personal communications. This was consultations with the native speakers of Ekegusi, who are called the custodians of Ekegusi. So the custodians of Ekegusi are elders who have the knowledge of the language and also the culture. And so they provided examples and the cultural interpretations. I also got another set of data from the oral narratives and the folk tales from the Gusi tradition. So this highlighted the power and the consequences of romantic love, especially. And so my findings, the conceptual metaphors of love in Ekegusi. So the analysis of my data showed that love is conceptualized through embodied and cultural domains. And some of the salient metaphors that were identified, of course, the list is not limited to what is projected on the screen, but these are the ones that I'm going to discuss today. So some of the silent metaphors are love is a force, love is food, love is an animal, love is a plant, and love is light. So to start us off, we have the conceptual metaphor, love is food. I'm going to read the expression in Ekegusi, and also the translation is provided. So the first expression is nangatirwe no bwanjani. That simply means I am starved of love. Then the second example is nyabokone, Mary nyabokone, are. That simply means Mary is the owner of my honey. Okay, so the conceptual mapping here is direct. So we see food is interpreted as the emotional sustenance. We have starvation, which is interpreted as a deprivation of love, and we have sweetness, which is mapped into joy of affection. So we are saying that this metaphor frames love as nourishment and necessary for emotional survival. So just as food sustains the body, love also sustains the soul. And the absence of love is experienced as starvation. Um, Hence the example of I am starved of love. So the absence of it is is starvation, while the presence of love is symbolized by honey, which is sweet, which is also rare, and which is deeply valued. And so culturally, the metaphor resonates with the agricultural context of the Bagusi. So honey, which is a prized food, symbolizes love's richness and exclusivity. And so the metaphor stresses that love is not only a luxury, but a necessity, which is very important for emotional and social being. And the second conceptual metaphor is that love is a force. The example given here is Obwanja Nimbwa Rietogeko. So a story is given of a young man who was called Ogeko. So Ogeko used to cross a particular river, that is River Gucha in Kisii, to go to the other side to go and meet his beloved. So, and this went on for long until one day it rained heavily. And when it rained heavily, the river flooded, and the bridge could not be visible. So while Ogeko was coming back to his home, he found that the river had flooded, and because he couldn't sleep on the other side, he tried, or he attempted to cross over, and he was actually swept by the floods. So this led to his death. And so that led to this proverb. So it's a metaphor that is hidden in a proverb that love ate Ogeko, or love killed Ogeko. Then the second example is Obwanjani nigo boko bwabyons. That basically means love conquers all. And so we are saying that this set of expressions conceptualizes love as an overpowering and often dangerous force. It is depicted as something that can eat a person, or it can even conquer all. So the source domain is natural and physical forces. So we see the floods here, or even armies, hence the conquering. So the target domain is love. And so the mapping emphasizes the intensity and uncontrollability of love, which can overwhelm individuals and triumph over obstacles. So the tale of Ogeko, who drowned while crossing the river, for love epitomes this particular metaphor. And so culturally, the story functions as a cautionary tale, teaching that love's intensity, though it is celebrated, it can also destroy when it is unrestrained. Then my third example is love is an animal. So with love is an animal, I have three examples here of this metaphor. One says, "Esese ngungu ya ruseti ensacha bogere." That simply translates to a bitch, that is a female dog, lured a male dog from Luoland. So we are talking about Kisii here or Gusii people, and we are talking about Luoland. So a female dog lured a male dog from Luoland. And then the second example is Chako Boiri Votari Nyambo. That means start a relationship that is not like that of a chameleon. And then the third example that I have on this conceptual metaphor is Obuyagwe Ngondi Nsigite Etara Ruata. So that basically means the goodness of the ewe is best known by its lamb. And so in these expressions, uh, sorry, in these expressions, love is conceptualized through the animal imagery. Love is conceptualized through the animal imagery. And so the ewe represents nurturing love whose quality is reflected in its offspring. The dog and the beach metaphor conveys the instinctual magnetic pull of attraction, even across boundaries. And the chameleon, once again, is inconsistency. That is, its changing color symbolizes instability and unpredictability in relationships. So together, these animal metaphors map instincts, nurture, attraction, and adaptation onto the domain of love. So they remind us that that good love should nurture growth. True love inspires sacrifice, but unstable love, like a chameleon's behavior, can actually threaten the social harmony. Then the fourth example is love is a plant. And this example here is Omoiseko muya achorege kama gokemo amere. So this simply translates to a good lady should choose one whole and grow. Should choose one whole and grow. And so this metaphor uses the agricultural imagery to highlight fidelity and stability. So just as a plant thrives when it is rooted in one place, a woman is encouraged to remain committed to one partner. So the mapping is clear here. So plant growth represents relationship growth. Rooting stands for fidelity, and uprooting signals instability. And so culturally, this stresses that the Gusii believe that faithfulness is the foundation of stable marriages, which in turn sustains communal life. It also reflects the agrarian worldview, where cultivation and care are essential for survival. Then my last example is on love is light. Love is light. And the example that I have here is Wanjimbwa mweri komo sunte wabora. That simply means that love is for the light, but it disappears in darkness. It disappears in darkness. And so this metaphor shows the moral and the social conditions that allow love to thrive. So light is used to symbolize truth, transparency, and openness, while darkness represents secrecy, negativity, and deceit. So the mapping is straightforward here. So we have light stands for honesty and flourishing, darkness for secrecy and decline. And culturally, this metaphor reflects the Gusii value of openness in relationships. So love thrives when it is lived in truth and also shared openly, but it withers when it is actually hidden or when it is corrupted. And so I get to the discussion here. So we are saying that we have the embodied experiences, which provide the source domains for love metaphors in Ekegusii. And these embodied experiences or the source domains for love metaphors in Ekegusii, we have food, we have animals, we have plants, we have force, and we also have light. all come from everyday sensory and physical interactions. So what's interesting is that these domains are not unique to Gusii culture. They are actually cross-cultural, appearing in many world languages as ways of talking about and understanding love. But as Koveskes notes, universality is not absolute. So not every embodied source domain is found in every language. So on the other hand, the Gusii context
You must
gives,
come to conclusion, please. Yeah,
okay, I'm almost. So,
exactly.
so the Gusii context gives these metaphors distinct inflections. So honey in Ikegusi symbolizes not only sweetness, but also rarity and value, which is tied to the ecological and cultural role of honey in Gusii society. Similarly, the metaphors drawing on the ewe and the lamp or the chameleon are deeply embedded in the Gusii pastoral and the agricultural life. So the tale of Ogeko frames love as a destructive force within a moral universe that cautions against excess. And so we are saying that this culture-specific details demonstrates Koveske's 2005 argument that while metaphor is grounded in embodiment, its expression is always filtered through the cultural conceptualization and the ecological realities. So the cultural practices, the ecology, and the worldview shape which metaphors are highlighted or suppressed. And so therefore, we are saying that Kegusi evidence affirms the two levels. So we have the cognitive universals. That means it's rooted in the human embodiment. And we also have the cultural variation. That means it's shaped by the social, cultural environments. So we have the same source domains, which may appear across languages, but the conceptualization will differ, the silence will also differ, and also the moral lessons will vary from one culture to another. So therefore, we are saying that Ekegusi metaphors reveal a striking duality. That is, love is both life-giving, that means it nourishes, it illuminates, and it is also destructive, that means it overwhelms, and it can also even kill. So we are saying a good example is from the folktale of Ogeko, which epitomes the duality of love in the Gusii culture, showing the romantic side, that is Ogeko's devotion to reach his beloved every time crossing the river and going to get to her. And then we also have the cautionary side, which warns of the dangers of the unchecked passion. And so we are saying that in Ekegusi, the metaphors are more than cognitive. They act as cultural frameworks, and therefore they function to guide the social behavior and transmit moral values. So the examples that we've given there, a good lady should choose one hole and grow in it, which represents that a good lady should actually maintain, should be faithful and should be loyal to one partner. And then we also have the chameleon behavior, which once against the inconsistency. We have the light metaphor, which sheds light on honesty and transparency. And so these metaphors are prescriptive. They are not neutral. That means that they set norms for how love should actually be practiced. And so they align with the broader African proverb that the proverbs are repositories of wisdom. So they offer guidance and support and social conduct and ethics. And so in the Goose society, this is linked to ideals of stability, reciprocity, and endurance. And so the contribution of the study, we have the empirical
You
expansion, we have
put
the universals and variation, then we have
Gilfine,
the,
Gilfine, I think you
yes,
know everything you want to say. Why don't you leave that out and come to your conclusion? Yeah?
all right, okay. Okay, thank you, Prof. So, in conclusion, we are saying that the African languages must be included in the global debates on metaphor. And Africa has immense linguistic richness, and yet it is actually underrepresented. And the Kegusi metaphors of love are representative. They're not just exceptional, but they can illustrate how metaphors operate at the intersection of the body, the mind, and the culture. And so thank you for listening. So I leave a question with you. How do you conceptualize love in your culture? Thank you.
So, Thank you very much, and thank you. And okay, I think we are very well informed about how Kegosi conceptualize love and how it is also embedded in the broader framework on conceptual metaphor for theory. And maybe some of you are really also inspired to look into your culture and see what they say about the same or about other emotions. Or I think we are moving then to the second presenter, Fancy. Please, Fancy. She also works on the idea of how what Kipsigis culture they have, but through a different lens. Please, Fancy, share your PowerPoint.
Yeah, please, the presenter, could you just stick to 20 minutes, please?
Yes.
Yeah, the other presenter was carried away. It's understandable, but please stick to 20 minutes so we can switch to the next event by 6 p.m. Nigerian time and 8 p.m. Kenyan time. Yeah.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. Thank you, Gilfin, for starting us off so well. I hope you can all hear me. I'm wondering why my okay, there it is. My name is Soy Fancy Chepkoech, a student of Professor Helga Schroeder at AIU. So my topic is on Kipsigis cultural values that are seen through name giving. And background to the language, Kipsigis is a Nilo-Saharan language that belongs to the Southern Nilotic cluster. Among its sister languages, we have Tugen, the Nandi, the Keyo, among the others. In comparison, we also have the Eastern Nilotic cluster, the Turkana, the Teso, the Toposa, the Bari, and the Maasai. And background to my study of the cultural values as seen through the Kipsigis naming system is that this is the field of onomastics, that is the study of names. Anthroponomastics is the study of personal names, and toponomastics, according to Chibuike and Igwenyi, this is the study of place names. And Makondo, who has also written, he did his study on Shona names, says that these are very multidisciplinary study. So in my case, 3 schools of thought have shaped my perspective. That is the anthroponomastic model, the linguistic anthropology, and lexical pragmatics. So a bit of anthroponomastic model is that they believe that culture and language go together. There's a link. That name giving is a universal aspect, and it reflects the way people view their world. And so by looking at the various categories of names, people, you can actually get to identify and pinpoint the values that a community hold to their heart as important. So from linguistic anthropology, from Duranty, I pick the aspect that the way we use our words will reflect the cultural practices that we have, that how we use language is also reflective of the values that we live by. So name giving is not really on reference, that is identifying an individual, but it also performs other linguistic functions in a cultural context. So linguistic messages, therefore, should be studied within the context. So how they have been used and how they have been interpreted. In my statement of the research problem, I have asserted that all communities have values, and these values hold the community together. That is also the case in Kipsigis. And so by looking at the values, or one way to look at these values, cultural values, is to look at the name giving pattern. And so names will identify an individual, will identify an object, but they will also record history, and they will reflect the values that are held dear. So I also give the assertion that it gives a window. The study of personal name giving offers this window where we can explore the values of the Kipsigis. So in my study, I propose to seek the knowledge of why names are given, also the nature or the factors that motivate a name giver to give a particular name to an individual, because it is not randomly given, and also to establish the implications, the cultural implications of the names that have been given. So I collected the Kipsigis personal names. I studied the name giving process. So that I could examine the values and the behavior for documentation. So I endeavored to identify the birth names and examine their functions and cultural implication. I also endeavored to explore family names and the clan setup, so that I would get to examining the cultural significance. Third objective was to investigate political names in Kipsigis and to examine their implications culturally. And my last objective was to look at nicknames and stage names so that I could establish their importance in the culture. So my research questions: what are the names given at birth and what are their functions? What are the family names that are found in the Kipsigis culture? And what are the roles that these names play? Thirdly, the political names. What are the political names found among the Kipsigis? Why and how are they acquired? And my last question was to identify stage names and nicknames among the Kipsigis artists, so that I would also pinpoint the cultural uh, role that is played by the names. Theoretical framework, I have two theories. First is the anthroponym pragma semantic decompositional theory. This was a theory propounded by Macondo, 2009, while he was studying Shona names. So it is an African theory propounded by an African. So he draws tools from pragmatics, semiotics, semantics. I also complemented the theory with lexical pragmatics, because I felt that I needed tools that I could pinpoint the pragmatic aspect of a name. So I narrowed down to lexical pragmatics. And their assertion is that the way words are used often depart from the encoded meaning, so that we have the principles of narrowing, of broadening, or approximation of the concept. Of course, lexical pragmatics is a theory that emanated from relevance theory, by Grice. There is the unitary approach to lexical pragmatics, whereby the three processes of narrowing, of loosening, of metaphorical extension are seen to be as a result of one interpretive process that leads to the construction of ad hoc concepts online during the interaction among the encoded concepts. Of course, as you also take into consideration the contextual background and the pragmatic expectations of the interlocutors. In my methodology of the study, this was a qualitative research. My geographical area was in Bomet and Kericho County, two villages. Used the purposive and the snowball sampling methods, and my sample size is 100. The age bracket was varied from 8 years and above, 60 to 70, 40 to 50, 20 to 30, and gender was considered. So how I collected my data through interviews, I used focus interviews, one-on-one interview.
Fancy.
Yes.
You would just go to your findings now. I think we
Okay.
can believe that you did a valid study here.
Thank you for your guidance. So since I have 4 categories of names, I narrowed down to nicknames. And another name for a nickname originates from the word ek, which means another name. Several studies have been done on nicknames, and in a summary, scholars, a number of scholars have given their conclusions that its names are given by friends, family members, according to how the individual looks, physical appearance, or their behavior. Cabasso says that nicknames are informal and they reflect the person's real name or characteristic or behavior. We have the attitude also that a name giver may express his attitude towards the person or the behavior of that person by the nickname given. And so my assertion is nicknames can reflect the cultural and social expectations of a society over its members. My first nickname, I narrowed down to 10 because of time. There is Dramit, which is borrowed from English, a drum, and the encyclopedic entry of the term, of the concept, is that it's round, cylindrical, it is short, some are metallic, and they are used to store water. In the Kipsigis context, I don't mean the drum that is beaten, but the one that is actually used to store water. So, and this meaning is narrowed down to a woman who is huge and round in size, just like a drum. So we can narrow down the meaning. We can also metaphorically extend it to view the woman in terms of a drum. And so the salient features of the drum that are relevant to the woman is that of shape. A shapeless woman, maybe due to sedentary life or eating too much. And the norm culturally in the Kipsigis is of having a lithe shape that is obtained by physically being active, like going to the shamba, walking long distances, being active, having an active lifestyle. And so the implicature is that the woman does a lot of eating and she's out of shape. Implicitly, she's being said to be lazy because she doesn't do any physical activity. And so the function of this name is to ridicule a sedentary lifestyle in an implicit manner. My second one is Sorokwon, which is scoop. Scoop me some food. The context here is that of a leader who is in charge of constituency funds. And so he gives a condition to the people in charge that if I give you, let's say, 500,000, you have to part with something, you have to give me back something. So there's that comparison of somebody serving food and then asking to be served back a little from the food that he has just served you. And several inferences can be drawn from this, in that it's the members of the public that are giving the name to this leader. So the name, in a metaphorical manner, it's a judgment on his character, ridiculing him for stooping so low, um, asking back money that should be used for the development of the area. So the term itself, contextually in the culture, Sorokwan is the way the term a beggar would be using to beg for money in the street. And so implicitly the leader is being told to maintain the dignity of his office, not to reduce himself to that of a beggar. So we have, in a metaphorical way, the aspect of greed and corruption. It also shows that the leader has lost credibility. There is no accountability in his character. And so, what is the function of this nickname? The society is trying to stabilize the value system by coming up with derogative name that will ridicule and hopefully stamp out any form of vice seen in their leaders. Chepnai is a third one, and know it all. So it encodes one who knows. So in a narrowed sense, it is given to a person who cannot receive guidance or correction. He claims to know everything, does not accept to be guided or advised, often to some disastrous end. So the implicit or the inferences that can be drawn here is that of impatience and immaturity. Culturally or contextually, it can be a name given to a child who does not want to listen to advice given by the parents. I can confess that even in my own house, a number of times we have used this to our child, and they have come to know that this name is wrong. You're being asked to change your behavior. It can also be used to satirize adults who are not teachable, who lack patience and humility. So implicitly, the culture does not like pride, impatience, and immaturity as seen through this name. Kipkerek is the third one. Kerek is pot, a night runner. And so narrowed down to a specific pot used in witchcraft, and it is used to mark someone who practices witchcraft. Encyclopedic entries include running at night with a pot of fire balanced on their head. These people harm others. They don't like it when people prosper. They use their powers to cause sickness and death. We see an object for agent metonymic relationship where the pot, which is the instrument of performing witchcraft, being extended to mean the person that carries and uses it. Through this name, we see the implied meaning is that such a person has malice, is envious, and does not mean well. And so, also metaphorically, it encompasses any behavior that tends towards jealousy, envy, or malice. And so the name functions to ridicule those who harm others. And so, in a flip side, we can say that this is a vice that the community does not like. Mageso, one who does not marry.
Fancy, your time is up. Can you come to conclusion? please.
Okay. So my first 5 names are vices, but the next 5 are values. There is maendeleo, that means development. There is kipchut tugaurit, which means one who loves staying inside the herd of cattle. And this is a pastoralist community. So it brings out that love for cattle. And the name is a praise name to the person who loves cattle. Chemaluk means a generous person, and it is the term that contextually is for milk drying up. So one whose milk does not dry up, to to represent one's generosity and abundance. Kiplabat's one who runs. This is a skill that reflects the way the Kipsigis are athletes, and they value this. Another one, so for you to be an athlete, you have to train, you have to go through different terrains, and so it shows that resilience, it shows determination, and it is also a fruitful venture. Last one is Chengwe, one who is an expert in climbing, and so there's this agility that is being praised, and a mastery of skill, because climbing a tree needs a skill. So, in conclusion, there are many nicknames. Some are negative, others are positive. And my assertion is, through these nicknames, we can establish what is acceptable in the culture, what is not. That there are those that are being praised, there are those that are being castigated. Values of hard work, love for cattle, agility are praised, whereas greed, gluttony, stinginess are being castigated. So I can therefore say that by studying these names, we can get to know what the community values, what it doesn't. And the role of these names is to regulate, to regulate that which is loved, and to mock that which is not wanted. Thank you.
And thank you for concluding fast. Thank you very much for your very interesting presentation. Yes, good. And can we now move to the next point of the evening? We have only 7 minutes left, Akin. Is it?
Yes, well, I think we can engage it in,
I would
because,
like,
we started later than 5. And so let's say we run up to 6:05.
good.
So we have about 11 minutes to engage the presentations.
Yes, that means we open for question and answer, isn't it?
Yeah, precisely.
Yeah. So we right now we ask anybody from the audience who would like to make a comment or an insight or help the students even to get a point correct or comment on them, and because they have not handed in their PhD yet, but they're working on it, as they said. Thank you. And Fancy, if you take down your PowerPoint, please.
Okay, can I start?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, well, in the middle of the presentation, I had an impression that it wasn't the students that were presenting. I thought they were established scholars.
Mhm.
So that actually speaks to the quality of the supervision. And, that's to say that we're actually doing a lot in Africa, doing a lot in African universities. Now, let me make some quick comments and maybe one question. I like the way the studies have been seated in the interface of theory and analysis. You can see that the theories are well reviewed, and then the relevant principles are clearly identified, and they are clearly analyzed. They are clearly demonstrated in the analysis, such that we can see the theories in the analysis. You can see the theories in the analysis. In the first one, Initially, we had it shown throughout. You had the conceptual metaphor, we have the mapping between the source domain and the target domain. And initially I had an impression that she wasn't really speaking to the culture. But later on, I think in the conclusion, she was not able to establish the cultural relevance of some of this. Well, the question I have for her is this. Now, what kind of analytical method did you use? Is it top-down or bottom-up? And if it is top-down or bottom-up, how did you use either? So that's one. And I think it's the same question for the other speaker. How did you use? I can see the bottom-up more clearly in the second one. In the first one, it's smarter. Because in the first one is smarter because you will see actually the categorizations. It's not the examples, but ultimately the examples were the focus. So could we know from the students what they did? Because I always tell my students, I can only guide you. It's ultimately your job. Okay, so we don't want to listen to the supervisor, we want to listen to the students. Tell us what they did with the analysis. Thank you, Elder. That's my.
Okay, so Gilfi, you want to start?
Sure. I'm not sure I got the question clearly. It was a bit low.
Professor Akin asked whether you started with a theory or did you start with your data and were looking for the theory? And what did mostly guide you, the data or the theory?
So basically I started with the data. That the data is the one that actually guided the theory. Because initially there was a theory that I wanted to use. I wanted to use the extended conceptual metaphor theory, but I realized that I was coming from the theory part towards the data and I was not even able to analyze the data itself. And so I later on, with discussion with my supervisor, decided to now get the data, and then so the data actually informed the theory that I used.
Okay, so can we listen to the other speaker?
Fancy? Oh, is she gone? Fancy? No, she's here. Fancy?
Is she muted?
No. Yeah, she's Fancy. Unmute. Yeah, she's
Sorry. So I could also, thank you for the question. I can also say that I was guided by the data because we collected this data. With the guidance of my supervisor, I looked at the pattern that is coming out. I had this theory, anthroponomastic theory, which really helped me in breaking down the names to their morphemes, establishing the connotative as well as the denotative. Then I reached this point of my names whereby for the pragmatic value of the name, I needed another theory that could bring it out well. So I could say that it is my data that was guiding, leading the way, and not the theory. Thank you.
Okay, there is another person, Babatunde, please.
Babatunde.
Babatunde. It
Thank
is
you
a tone change.
Good evening. I also want to join Professor Akande to appreciate the clarity of the two presentations. They have been very systematic and It speaks volumes about the quality of supervision and the teachability of the candidates. It's been very enlightening and insightful. I only have one question or observation on the metaphor presentation. I want the candidate to look again at the one categorized as force. It doesn't appear to me that the two, especially when it has to do with the person drowning because of love, and then we now consider it force. I just want you to look at that analysis again and the categorization. It doesn't seem to be aligned properly. Maybe we should look for another word instead of force, because this is talking about killing. It's not just force. What kills is beyond force. I think we can be, when we look more clearly, we may be able to see an expression that will capture the essence of what that metaphor gives, other than force, which appears to me to be something that is as if we are just trying to put them together anyhow. That's just my view. Outside of that, I think the two presentations have been very wonderful. Thank you.
Good.
Can I make a very quick comment, Prof?
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah, this is Zipporah. Thank you. Big thank you to the two presenters for making very interesting presentations. Yes. So to the first presenter, because I share a native language with her, I saw her spell Ekegusi with G, capital G in the middle of the word. I think that's a common practice for, is it people who are not native speakers of the language? But from her, I expect her to write it well. I don't think you need the capital G in the middle, unless you have a good explanation as to why you want to write it that way. Then secondly, for the metaphor, analysis of love metaphors, that was interesting. However, I wonder if for a PhD study, whether she's going to get more data, enough data to build up to the study. That's if I am, maybe there are more love metaphors, maybe she doesn't have to respond. Then thirdly, there's a metaphor she gave an illustration of about love being, is it a force? That love, is it overcomes all, something like that. In my thinking, I felt like it sounded more like from the biblical perspective, love overcomes all, something like that. I don't know why I felt like it was more of a translation from that in the Bible. So, and if that is the case, then it may not be truly native to the language. So maybe something for her to just think about before she settles on that. But I'm sure if she still goes to the field, she may get more, sometimes idiosyncratic ways of talking about love, but which could be understood by still larger members of the community. To the second presenter, yeah, that was also interesting. Just on the conclusion where you said it shows what is valued, what is not valued. Maybe it's because we hurried you through to get to the conclusion. But I just hope that there will be a good link to show that this is not valued. Why? If someone is round and I don't know, like a drum, there are some African communities that actually enjoy seeing fat women. So I think you just need to investigate that more. Thank you.
I also have a comment, one more.
Yeah, we have one more comment. Exactly, please.
Yes, thank you very much for the presentation.
Hello.
I was only able to listen to the second one. And I would like to encourage the candidate. I don't know if she has looked at Gerono's work also on naming. I think she does a morphological analysis, but towards the end, she also talks about nicknames. So maybe she could check if there's some similarity, or what is the point of divergence between the names that are found in Kipsigis and Tugen. Thank you very much.
Okay, we have one more hand up, and I think that
Hello.
it should be the last one, isn't it? Please.
Hello.
Yeah. Yeah,
Precisely
please.
the last,
Go ahead.
the last. Okay.
My name is Olatunde.
Yeah,
Can I go ahead?
You're on.
go ahead.
Yeah, please.
Thank you very much. I joined in the middle of the presentation, and I listened to the second presenter who presented the work on onomastics. She has done a good job, but my observation is that the context plays vital roles in onomastics interrogation. And so I want to advise the researcher to look at the contextual assumptions of the language being used. You should try and do more on the context, because some of the analysis to me appears to focus, like the last speaker has said, on morphological analysis. She has tried to dwell on functional relevance, but we need more, because in Pragmatics and other sociolinguistic study of language, we lay more emphasis on functional relevance of our studies. So please, let us concentrate more on the context of those data she has presented. Thank you.
Good. Thank you. And I think at this point we should close the question and answer and go to the next event, isn't it, Akin?
Yeah. Okay. So, thank you very much. So, Simeon, could you close this bit of the event?
All right. I know we agree with me that this is actually an engaging session and very eye-opening into other aspects of culture that we've not been, some of us are not familiar with. Thank you to the presenters. We are very grateful for opening our eyes. Professor Erga, thank you for the supervisory role you have played. I think on this point, we are actually closing the mentor-mentee discussion for today. We'll meet next month for another set of our program, where we transit to the next agenda that we have on our program today. Oga, over to you, sir.
Okay. Thank you very much. The coordinator, the director of programs, Dr. Simeon Ajiboye. We would now move over to the next event, which is the award event. But before that, we have to appreciate Helga Stroeder. Helga has been very passionate about Pragmatic Point, and so are other members, other professors who have been honored today. And of course, you can see the evidence of this. And of course, as I said, whether we admit it or not, we are doing a lot for our students in Africa. And today is just a demonstration of that. This is one program of Pragmatic Point we want to emphasize. And anytime any supervisor is interested in presenting their student, please feel free to contact us. We are going to schedule them, but please let it be immediately after every monthly event, so that we don't schedule another event, another program for the next month. We want to prioritize mentorship, and I think that is where the hope of Africa really lies, in the scholarship. On this note, we say thank you to everyone. So we move over to the next event, which is where we are going to honor the people we are very grateful to for ensuring that this study group is really making the waves that it's making. So I pass the baton on to Ruth Oji to coordinate. Thank you very much. Ruth Oji, please, over to you.
Yes, good evening, Prof. Good evening, Saz and Maz. And it's a pleasure to have you here again. So we're moving on now to the Award of Excellence. And I'd like to start by mentioning the names of the awardees. Just a moment. All right. So we have on the list Professor Shola Timothy Babatunde. We also have Professor Helga Schroeder, Professor Josephine Dazen Kwashi, Professor Gbenga Solomon Ibileye, and Professor Olatunde Ayodabo. So we can use our virtual hands to clap for them to appreciate them. And I'm going to start by reading the bio for Professor Shola Timothy Babatunde, and I would then call on Aloysius Ngefa to make the presentation by Professor Aloysius Ngefa. All right. So, Professor, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I read to you the citation on Professor Shola Timothy Babatunde. He was born on the 6th of February, 1962 in Jeba South, Moro local government area of Kwara State, Nigeria. And he started his formal education at UMCA Primary School from 1968 to 73. He later proceeded to GSS Malete Ilorin, Kwara State in 1973 to 1978 for his secondary education. Commenced his post-secondary education at Kwara State College of Technology between 78 and 80 for his GCE advanced level. His insatiable quest for knowledge led to his enrollment in the Bachelor of Arts program in English between 1980 to 83 at the University of Ibadan. He also bagged a Master of Arts in English in 1987 at the University of Ilorin and a PhD in English also from the Better by Far Citadel of Learning. Prof, that made me laugh. So far, Professor Babatunde's academic career in the University of Ilorin spans 36 years, in which he has, through a dint of hard work and exemplary leadership, excellently rose through the ranks from being an assistant lecturer in 1989 to the position of a senior lecturer in 1997 and a professor of English in 2012 because of systemic stagnation. Professor Babatunde Shola Timothy has been teaching courses on semantics, syntax, and applied linguistics at both undergraduate and postgraduate levels in the Department of English since 1989 to date. He has also been external examiner at the Ahmadu Bello University, Bowen University, University of Ibadan, Obafemi Awolowo University, University of Cape Coast, Ghana, among others. In the period of his progressive career, Professor Babatunde has supervised about 68 master's essays and 18 doctoral dissertation theses in the Department of English in the fields of applied linguistics, semantics, syntax, phonology, and pragmatics, and numerous undergraduate long essays. He's been a visiting professor at the University of Cape Coast, Ghana, Kwara State University, Federal University Lokoja, among others. Well, I believe that time will fail me if I go on reading Prof's bio, but let me summarize by saying that Professor Shola Babatunde has demonstrated that he's not a straight-jacketed academic, as he served in various administrative capacities in the period of his career. Again, it's interesting to note that he did not only serve in academic and administrative capacities, but also in spiritual matters. He was an ordained minister in United Missionary Church of Africa over a decade ago, He's happily married to his amiable and loving wife, Mrs. Omoladun Babatunde, and their union is blessed with 3 biological and many other children. He is indeed an icon upon whose shoulders many have and continue riding on. He is a multi-talented and many-sided. He has a multi-sided personality. He is a husband, father, teacher, mentor, scholar, pastor, and the list go on. He is an intellectual par excellence who demonstrates fairness, humility, and a sincere commitment to imparting the lives of his students and all those he comes across wherever he is. Ladies and gentlemen, join me in welcoming Professor Shola Timothy Babatunde. I was hoping to see now I see I see your applause is going up. That's beautiful. Thank you very much. All right. While we wait for Professor Devon's screen to come on, yes, I'd like to invite now Professor Aloysius to make the presentation of the award. Is Professor Ngefak here?
Yeah, well, Aloy said he had network issues in Cameroon. I don't know whether he's still there. I don't know if he's here now or not. If he's not here, I'm going to make the presentation.
Okay, very well, Prof. Thank you.
Well, we have listened to Oga's citation. It's not a surprise. We are very proud of him, particularly what he has contributed to Pragmatics in Africa and the growth of Pragmatic Point. Therefore, Professor Shola Timothy Babatunde, in recognition of your excellent contribution to the pragmatic study of African languages and cultures, and your deep interest in the development of Pragmatic Point, we confer on you this honor of the distinguished pragmatician on this day, the 29th of August, 2025. Congratulations. So I think we can move on to the next, please.
Thank you very much. Highly appreciated.
Thank you, sir.
Later.
All right, sir. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you. We're going to have a moment for the awardees to make a short remark. Thank you very much, Professor Babatunde. The next awardee is our very own Professor Helga Schroeder. And after reading her bio, I'm going to be calling on Professor Jane Oduor to make the presentation. All right. I know you've seen her today, but it will be nice to still tell you a bit more about her. Professor Helga was born in Sturp in Germany and obtained her MA in Education, Philosophy, and History from the University of Cologne, Germany. Since 1976, she is a member of Summer Institute of Linguistics and started to work as linguist and Bible translator under the auspices of the Ministry of Education of South Sudan, together with her husband, among the Toposa of Eastern Equatoria in 1981. She obtained her MA in linguistics from Reading, United Kingdom in 1994, and her PhD in linguistics from the University of Nairobi in 2004. In 2002, she was made linguistics consultant for SIL International and worked in this capacity in many different countries in East Africa. Furthermore, for over 20 years, she was a member of the University of Nairobi in the Department of Linguistics and Languages, where she became an associate professor in 2018 and retired in 2022. Right now, she works as an adjunct professor for Africa International University, Nairobi, Kenya. Professor Schroeder's main interest is pragmatics and discourse analysis in African and Nilotic languages. In these domains, she has done research in the pragmatics of clause chaining and clause linkages, typology of spatial relationships, cognitive linguistics, particularly cognitive metaphor theory, relevance theory, ethnosyntax, and lately ethnopragmatics. Professor Schroeder has been the chief editor of the special issue of Ghana Papers in Linguistics, that is publications from the first African Pragmatics Conference, which was held in July 2021. And she is the chief editor of Current Issues in Nilo-Saharan, which is a publication from August 2018. She has about 35 academic publications in local and international journals to her credit, and she successfully supervised 9 PhDs in pragmatics and related areas. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming again Professor Helga Schroeder. And may I invite at this point Professor Jane Oduo, if you're here, to make the presentation.
Okay, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to honor Professor Helga Schroeder. So on behalf of the Pragmatic Points team, we present this certificate to you, Professor Helga Schroeder, because of your contribution. We are recognizing your excellent contribution to the pragmatic study of African languages and culture, and your deep interest in the development of pragmatic points. We confer on you this honor as a distinguished pragmatician. So accept this certificate as a sign of our appreciation. And we appreciate that you are mentoring very many students and even some of us. Thank you very much. Let us appreciate Professor Schroeder by clapping virtually. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, Professor Oduo, thank you so much for keeping it brief. We appreciate that. Congratulations again, Professor Schroeder.
I feel very honored. Thank you very much.
All right. Okay. We're going to call upon you to make a short remark very soon. So the next on the list is Professor Josephine of the University of Ghana. And I'm going to read out her bio, while I'll have the honor of inviting Professor Jemima Anderson to read out her award. All right, so thank you for putting up her picture. We appreciate that. Professor Josephine Zahenkwashi is a dedicated academic committed to teaching, learning, and research. Over the past 24 years, she has built valuable experience in teaching, research, and leadership in various academic and administrative capacities. Professor Josephine holds a Bachelor of Arts degree in Swahili and Linguistics and a PhD in African Studies from the School of Oriental and African Studies, SOAS, University of London. She is an associate professor of Kiswahili linguistics at the University of Ghana. She served as the coordinator of the Kiswahili section in the Department of Modern Languages for many years and as head of the Department of Modern Languages for 2 terms. She was also the founding Ghanaian director of the Confucius Institute at the University of Ghana and served in that position for 9 years. Professor Josephine Zahenkwashi is currently the Dean of the School of Languages, College of Humanities, University of Ghana. She has served on several statutory boards and ad hoc committees of the university, including the Academic Board, Business and Executive Committee, Finance and General Purposes Committee, and several search panels for senior management positions. She has published a book, an edited book, 22 peer-reviewed articles, and 5 book chapters in the field of linguistics with special reference to Kiswahili. She has also co-edited 2 special issues of the Legon Journal of the Humanities. Her publications include topics on the syntax of inalienable possession, language in education policies in Africa, language contact phenomena between English and Kiswahili, as well as other African languages, globalization, localization, and localization of popular culture genres in Africa, proverbs, and recently, gender. Some of her recent publications include Zahin Kwashi, Josephine, and Chanel Mari, 2021. Viewing Gender Through the Eyes of Proverbs, Reflections of Gender Ideology in the Akan and Swahili Societies, which appeared in Journal of Pragmatics. Again, she serves as a reviewer for several journals, was the principal investigator of the flagship School of Languages, Andrew Mellon-founded project, Language and Communication in Specific Domains, Negotiating Multilingualism and Constructing Identities from 2018 to 2024, which has produced 26 peer-reviewed publications. She is the president of the Linguistics Association of Ghana and an executive member of the African Pragmatics Association. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, please make welcome and appreciate our dear Professor Josephine for this award. And may I have the honor of calling Professor Jemima Anderson to convey this award.
Thank you very much, Ruth. And thank you, colleagues, for this recognition for our dear Dean. Professor Josephine Jahini Kwashi, the African Pragmatics Association, in recognition of your excellent contribution to the pragmatic study of African languages and cultures, and your deep interest in the development of pragmatic point, confers on you this honor, distinguished pragmatician, on this day, August 29th, 2025. Congratulations, Professor Josephine Jahini Kwashi.
Thank you very much, Professor Anderson, for that. We appreciate you, Professor Josephine. All right, we'll be moving on now. Oh, okay, great to hear you. We'd like to hear more from you later on. And we'll be moving on now to Professor Gbenga Solomon Ibile. And I would also have the honor of inviting, again, Professor Aloysius Ngefak, if he's here, to make the presentation after I would have read out his bio. Okay, great. So that's the image of Professor Gbenga Ibile of the Federal University of Lokoja. He attended the, oh, sorry, it's the wrong one I got open. Just a moment. Ibile, good. All right, just a moment. Okay. Profile of Professor Gbenga Solomon Ibile. In 1950, Henry Kissinger, in an unpublished undergraduate thesis, upheld that all truly great achievements in history resulted from the actualization of principles, not from the clever evaluation of political conditions. 16 years later, one of those who would fulfill this assertion was born in person of Gbenga Solomon Ibile. Today, Gbenga Ibile is a professor of pragmatics and discourse analysis. Professor Gbenga Ibile, a native of Ekinriade in Kogi State, began his academic career as a graduate assistant in the Department of English and Literary Studies, Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria, ABU. He rose through the ranks to become a professor of pragmatics and discourse analysis in 2010. He transferred his services from ABU to Federal University Lokoja in 2012 at the establishment of the university. Professor Ibileye, who has supervised scores of master's dissertations and PhD theses, is the current provost, College of Postgraduate Studies, Federal University Lokoja. More than 10 of his PhD supervisees are now professors. He is a research associate, Department of Linguistics and Applied Language Studies, Rhodes University, South Africa, Fellow, Linguistic Association of Nigeria, LAN, and member, Nigerian Academy of Letters. As a specialist in discourse analysis and pragmatics, Professor Ibileye has published more than 50 scholarly articles in reputable journals locally and internationally. He is a great mentor whose mentees are doing wonderfully well in their chosen academic areas. He belongs to several professional bodies, such as English Scholars Association of Nigeria, ESAN, Linguistic Association of Nigeria, LAN, Pragmatics Association of Nigeria, PRAN, and African Pragmatics Association, APRA. Professor Gbenga Ibileye is a lover of research, teaching, and traveling. He is happily married and blessed with beautiful children. Ladies and gentlemen, please do not tire out. Use your virtual hands and keep appreciating and making welcome Professor Gbenga Solomon Ibileye. And may I have the honor now to invite Professor Aloysius Ngefak, if he's here, to make the presentation of the award.
Professor Aloysius Ngefak is not here, so I make the presentation on his behalf.
Very well, too.
We present this certificate of award to Professor Gbenga Solomon Ibileye in recognition of your excellent contribution to the study of pragmatics in Nigeria and beyond, and your deep interest in the development of pragmatic forms. And upon this recognition, we confer on you this honor of the distinguished pragmatician on this day, the 29th of August, 2025. Congratulations, Professor Gbenga Ibileye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for this conferment. Thank you very much.
Someone is giving us Beju in at the background. Okay.
Thank you very much.
All right, that's appreciated. Thank you. So we're going to move on now to the next one on the list, which is Professor Olatunde Ayodabo. And yes, so this is going to be the last but not the least. Okay, please, could we try to mute our mics if we're not called upon to speak so we can have some flow here? All right, so his picture is already up. That's Professor Olatunde Ayodabo. And the presentation will be made by Professor Akin Odzebumi. Okay, so I'm going to be reading out his profile. Professor Joel Olatunde Ayodabo, MNAL, attended the Uni Ilorin for his BA Ed in English, MA, and PhD in English language. Okay, he is a professor of English in the Department of English, Ajay Crowther University, Oyo, where he teaches language-based courses and communication and media studies courses. He also supervises undergraduate and postgraduate students in his areas of specialization. He is a foundation staff at Ajay Crowther University, Oyo, since January 2006, where he served as coordinator of Students' Industrial Work Experience, SciWest, coordinator of General Studies also. He served on the committees of University Curriculum, Student Disciplinary Committee, and others. He has also served as chairman of ACU Ceremonial Committee, Ajay Crowther University Library and Publication Committees, all between 2011 and 2016. He was appointed the acting head of Department of English between January 2010 and December 2013, and later became the substantive two-term head of department between 1st of June 2014 and 1st of December 2015. He was later appointed Dean Postgraduate School, Ajayi Crowther University, Oyo, between 2nd December 2015 and 31st of July 2016. On the 1st of August 2016, he returned to his faculty to run a two-term as Dean of Humanities Faculty between 1st of August 2016 and 31st of July 2020. And he was also elected the chairman Committee of Deans between 9th of May 2018 and 8th of May 2020. Professor Olatunde Ayodabo returned once again to the postgraduate school on the 1st of November 2020, right? And he's still in that office to date. He was also re-elected Chairman Committee of Deans on the 8th of May 2022 till date. He is also a two-time member of the Governing Council of Ajayi Crowther University, Oyo. His research interests are in pragmatics, stylistics, English in Nigeria, as well as communication and media discourse. He has taught and continued to teach courses in the areas of pragmatics, stylistics, syntax, semantics, semiotics, ESL, as well as communication and media studies, both at the undergraduate and postgraduate levels. He has attended several national and international conferences and presented papers, many of which have been published in quality outlets. He has authored some creative works and edited several books. He is the current editor-in-chief of Research in Pragmatics, a journal of the Pragmatics Association of Nigeria. He is a member of the National Association of Teachers and Researchers in Nigeria, in English as a second language, English Studies Association of Nigeria, Reading Association of Nigeria, Pragmatics Association of Nigeria, and Nigerian Academy of Letters. Professor Olatunde Ayodabo is external examiner to several universities for undergraduate and postgraduate programs in English, as well as being the Nigerian Universities Commission panel member to several universities on programs assessment and evaluation. He is a Christian of Anglican background and a lover of sports. He is married with children and grandchildren. Can we give a resounding applause to Professor Olatunde Ayodabo?
Thank you very much, Ruth Oji. I present the award, and I say that this certificate of award is presented to you today, Professor Olatunde Ayodabo. Professor Olatunde Ayodabo.
Thank you very much. Best wishes.
Sorry, 1 minute, please. I think there's a glitch somewhere. So I'll take out again. I have to. 1 minute, please. So it's giving me the wrong one. There shortly. Thank you. Okay, I guess there was a glitch somewhere. So I simply presented. I shared a little on. So I say that I made this our presentation to you, Professor Olatunde Ayodabo, in recognition of your excellent contribution to the pragmatic study of African languages, and of course, pragmatics in Nigeria and beyond, and your deep interest in the development of pragmatic points. And on that singular honor, we confer on you this award of the Distinguished Pragmatician today, the 29th of August, 2025. Congratulations to you, sir.
Thank you very much. I sincerely cherish this.
It's just life that's
Thank you. So, Ruth, can we move on, please?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. So it is now time to welcome short remarks from the awardees. And we're going to begin from Professor Shola Timothy Babatunde. Prof, you have our attention.
Well, I want to sincerely appreciate this recognition. It's very humbling, and it is short speech, so I'm not going to make it long. I only promise that which you have seen me do, which has called for this, by God's grace, I will do much more. And by His help, I will continue to impact more lives. And so help me God. So thank you very much for the recognition. It is highly appreciated, and it is humbling. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prof. You are indeed impacting lives, touching lives. Thank you, son. Please keep on with it. All right. Next up is Professor Helga Schroeder. Professor Schroeder, are you still here?
Yes.
Please, let's hear your short remarks. Great.
Thank you very much. I feel the same as as the one who spoke before. I thank you for this honor. I like the pragmatic point very much, because in East Africa, pragmatic is not so popular as it is in West Africa. And so for me, it's always interesting, it's inspiring, and giving me new ideas about what can be done in pragmatics. So I would love to be part of this and try to be as regular as possible. And thank you for this, really, for this award. And I would like to say the reason why I always believed in data driven was because I started with SRL, Summer Institute of Linguistics, and that's where you get all the data. And then later on, I came to all the theories when I studied, when I got my formal education. So anyway, thanks again, and for letting me know, be part of this good, very good enterprise.
That's very much acknowledged. Professor Schroeder, thank you so much for your contributions. And next up is Professor Josephine. Would like you to make your short remarks.
Thank you very much, Ruth, and a good evening to all. I would like to.
Can we see your face, please? Is it possible?
Yes, please.
Yeah, please. Okay, so we see your face. Okay, yeah, fantastic.
Oh, you can see me, but I can see myself. Anyway, yes. So I would also like my colleague awardees, I would like to extend my sincerest gratitude to the Pragmatic Point team for this generous recognition. I am deeply honored to receive this award, and I believe that it is, it is, how do I even put it? Yeah, it's an acknowledgement that affirms the value of thoughtful scholarship and collaborative engagement. And I'm really grateful to have contributed to the important conversations and initiatives that this program fosters. Indeed, I again join my colleague awardees who have pledged their continuous support to the pragmatic point. In fact, this award has indeed motivated me, and I look forward to a deeper commitment to the activities of the pragmatic point teams. Thank you very much once again for this distinction. And I would also like to extend a hearty congratulations to my fellow awardees. May we all be blessed. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. We appreciate your beautiful remarks, Professor Josephine. All right, can we now invite Professor Benga Solomon Ibile to make his short remarks?
Thank you very much. I want to similarly appreciate Pragmatic Point for this honor. I do not take it lightly. I want to appreciate Professor Akion-Debomi for providing leadership for this very important platform. And I am really proud to share this platform with pragmatic giants from all over Africa. It is indeed an honor to me. But permit me to make this remark, that as pragmaticians, we must be innovative by reinterrogating the cultural essence of Africa and critically engage with its leadership issues. We must redirect research in pragmatics to areas that are truly beneficial to Africa and its future. In this regard, I want to join Pragmatic Point to advocate for the deepening of mentorship in these very critical areas. I want to appreciate my family, my wife, my children, King, Okiki, Oludara, who are all online, my siblings, Fumi, Foluke, and Toyosi, my head of departments and colleagues, Dr. Olagunju, Dr. Okwe, Dr. Olajimbiti, Dr. Adaranijo, Dr. Kemi Irefin, Mrs. Ogunleye, and many more that are too numerous for me to mention. You have done me a great honor, and I pray that Almighty God would bless and reward you abundantly. Thank you very much for this wonderful evening. I'm grateful.
We are honored to have you, Professor Ibile. Thank you so much for your beautiful comments. And maybe move on now to invite Professor Olatunde Ayodabo for his short remarks. Professor Ayodabo, please.
Thank you very much. I feel greatly honored to be given this priceless award in recognition of one's humble contribution to the scholarship of pragmatics. I thank Professor Akion-Debomi for providing this quality leadership for this forum, which has been, one is sincerely encouraged to do more, and I'm sure we shall do more. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you so much, Professor Ayodabo. We really appreciate that. And you can see all of the reactions going up there. Everyone is happy. Well done, sir. Okay. At this point, we would like to call on Dr. Dubamo Tomere for words of appreciation.
Thank you so much, Dr. Oji, for that wonderful coordination. I want to first of all appreciate the Almighty God for the brain behind Pragmatic Point. I want to thank God for the life of my boss and mentor, Professor Akin Debumi, the team lead, who has this foresight to bring up this study group that has amassed different intellectuals. We have had two of the mentees of also Elga who have presented, and then that dovetails into this award ceremony that is coming to an end. On that note, I want to appreciate all who have created the opportunity to attend this program. And we also want to sincerely teachers and professors and who have also made themselves available for mentorship in Pragmatic Point. They are relatives from different universities and constituencies. We want to say thank you so much, and we hope to see many of you become members of Pragmatic Point to advance this study group. God bless you all, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Tomere, for the beautiful words of appreciation. And finally, I'd like to call on our team lead, Professor Akin Odebumi, for his closing remarks.
Well, thank you, everyone. It's been a great time we have had together today. And of course, everyone knows that the awardees really deserve to be honored. We know what they do at the back end and at the front end. We appreciate all of them once again. I don't have to repeat this. We are very happy that Pragmatic Point is growing very well. And on the screen, you will see the page of the group. We have our programs every month. We have several series of events that we mount. And as I said earlier on, what we have today is the best that we think we could have this group for the young people, because in developing the young ones that we have the hope for the African scholarship. And another thing we do, as you can see on the screen, is what we call the citation bank, where you could send in to us your references, your publications, and we have them on the screen. You know, we have so many things you could benefit from. We are a study group, and so we don't charge fees. You don't need to pay any money. If you need money, we ask for donations. And once we have enough, we stop taking the donations. We are very happy that the awardees accepted the offers that we give, because you may decide not to accept the offers. And then that comes the shame. But we thank you that we did not have the shame from you, rather we have the honor from you. We appreciate all our members. Until we meet again next month for another series of the Pragmatic Point group, I say once again, thank you to everyone, and I wish you all a happy night rest. So bye-bye to everyone until we see you again next month by the grace of God. So bye-bye.
Goodbye, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.
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 See you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
My feeling less. You can't
Bye.
see the places where you belong, but you will find that there is a purpose. It's been there within you all along. When you're near it, you can almost hear it. Around you, start to wake up to the sounds that are in their hearts. It's so amazing what we're all creating. Everyone plays the bass now, and the ladies each one around. It's glory now. As you begin us now. It's like the sun. Just keep listening, and pretty soon you'll start to figure out.